Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I am medium Kristin Davies, and I'm going live in my group, Intuitive Angel Messages, through Facebook. And I like to come live and connect with each of you. And this week, Source Frequency has chosen this topic and would like to bring this to the forefront. And I think it's interesting because there are weeks where I just say, well, does someone have a message for the masses? Does someone have a message for everyone watching? And this week it is beginning to love yourself. What does it take? So that's the title and the theme this week. What does it take to bring oneself further into the light? So that's what we're going to be discussing today. And I'm also going to be channeling a message from Source Frequency. Some people might call this God, light and love, universal oneness. Okay. I've always felt comfortable with the word source. But you guys can use whatever term you feel that you like to. Makes no mind to me or source at all. When I first started to channel, it was Source who was the first to step forward and chat with me. And there are moments where Source comes through with humor. It's not always serious talk, okay? It's interesting because I think a part of, light and love is humor. It helps to lighten the load. It helps to lift our frequency. It helps to raise our frequency upward. That's why we feel really good, if we have a good comedy on TV or we're watching something that makes us laugh. It is light filled. So you can imagine, sometimes when I'm driving, I can hear Source saying something, pertaining to what's happening in my life and have a funny or high vibrational spin on it to make me chuckle about it, to see it from a different perspective, to see it from a different angle so that I'm not so entrenched in it and so worried and so stressed. Yeah, so it's really, really interesting to be able to converse with Source anytime you want. If you want to chat with your higher self, your soul, you can chat with your higher self anytime you want. If you want to chat with your angels, anytime you want. If you want to chat with a loved one that's crossed over, anytime you want. Why is that? Does anybody have any answers to that? Why is it that we can just chat with anyone anytime we want? Any answers on that one? The key is in the statement, I suppose, in which I have just said, anytime you want. There I am. Excellent. I'm just pulling myself up here. Why is it that we can chat with Spirit and they will hear us anytime we want? Yeah, because they're always around us, they're always with us. Very true. Could it possibly be because they're omnipresent beings of light and love and there is no time on the other side? Yes, very much. Yes. Deborah's reading my mind. Hello, Connor. Hello, hello. Yes. There are no barriers of time or distance. We are all frequency. I'm telling you, I should just step aside and Kim can come right up here. She knows. She knows that there is no barrier. Yes, that's totally accurate. And I've never, the whole time that I've been channeling Spirit, I've never actually seen it where a loved one didn't get a message, or I've never seen it where someone didn't receive or wasn't there listening. And if they're busy, or if they're in a rest chamber, or wherever they are, then their team ensures that they get the message. So no matter what, that was a bit of a aha moment for me when I realized that Spirit could hear the goings on in my head. And then as I started to channel for people, I would have loved ones, guardian angels, and they would bring to the forefront sometimes with people that what was going on in their head on a regular basis. And you can see the person go, yeah, that's that's true. That is what's happening inside my mind. But it's just coming to the forefront in order to help people shift into a higher vibrational direction, to create more stillness in the mind. We don't have to be thinking all the time. Oh, that's so good, Kim. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank goodness. Thank goodness gracious. Holy smokes. That's so good. It's really interesting because sometimes when our loved one crosses over, we may not feel them or sense them for some time. Maybe they've gone into a rest chamber, is what I see it as. That's what I'm told it is. So they're busy doing other things, such as resting. And then there's times where our grief is so heavy that it's difficult to pick up on their energy around us. And that's not even necessarily right when they cross over. That can even be 20 years down the road. So if that's the case, it's a little tricky to pick up on their energy in the room. My grandfather came in the room the other day. My friend and me were watching Tyler Perry's new, did I say that right? The Hollywood Medium. We were watching this program, and as I'm watching this, I can tell, as well as my friend, that our chakras are getting opened, our channels are getting opened, and we're having a lot of different energies that he's channeling, blasting at us through the TV screen. And I'm like, wow, everything was heightened and more sensitive. So I feel like I felt like I was being activated and opened while watching his program, which is on Netflix right now. And every single episode I would play, it would be the same thing. So in comes this male energy, and I'm thinking, oh, it's part of the show. I'm not even going to pay attention to who this is. It's probably just someone's grandpa or someone. Nope, it's my grandpa. And he comes right in, he's chatting me up, and I'm telling my friend what he's saying, and it was really cool. And so what I've realized also is when our loved ones cross over, their energy, their frequency really shifts and changes as they cross over. It gets really high vibrational, really wonderful. So every time my Nana would come to visit me after she had passed away, she was significantly different. Every time, really much higher in frequency. I'd even say to her, wow, things have changed, huh? You're not carrying that dense egoic mind with you there like you once were. Like, I mean, we all have that part of us as we're incarnating, I suppose. But we're not all like, So she would just laugh and say, yeah. So a lot was shifting on the other side. Well, it depends. They're not always talking. So a loved one will come and visit, and they might give you images. They might give you a thought form that drops in your mind. You might be thinking about a moment or an experience that you had with them. You might be drawn to looking at their picture. You may want to go hold a piece of their clothing or something that they owned, and that will be all a way that they're communicating with you. It's just that they're doing it via claircognizance or clear knowing. Or the other way you'll know is clairsentience. So the energy will shift and change in the room. And you'll notice it feels different coming in maybe on your left, for example. So they're communicating with us in other ways other than just words. That's a great question. Why would our guides lead us to other healers and mediums when we can receive messages and healings on our own? That's a great question. Well, number one is you may be receiving some of what's coming through, but for more of a detailed conversation, for them to get through to you, maybe a little bit more detailed, they'd like you to go to seek someone for a message. Okay. And another reason would be they're trying to get a message through to you, but you're not picking up on everything that they're relaying. So, and maybe what they're relaying is as important for you to hear. And also with different healers, for example, in my personal opinion, I've had vastly different experiences with different healers, but also different modalities of healing. So, I've also asked for healing directly as well. It's whatever works best for whomever. Some of us, we have a lot of blocks, a lot of walls up, so it's not as easy to get through that heaviness. Okay, some of us carry the weight of the load through life, and to be honest, in the beginning of channeling, when someone would come to me and they're very heavy in frequency and they have a lot of walls up, it's not as easy to channel for them either. So what I've found over time, as you practice, it gets more open and more fluid. I'll give you an example. I wanted to hire staff for my cleaning company. I was done doing it myself. And Spirit kept telling me, soon, Kristin, soon. And I'm like, my body's just not able to continue this. And they kept telling me to reduce my hours. So I thought, well, I'll hire staff. And I kept getting the guidance, no, don't hire staff because you'll be tied to this business and it won't be easy for you to detach from it once you start building it bigger, because they knew I would. It was still, at this point, I didn't know this at the time, but it was still 4 years out from this job shifting into doing what I'm doing now. And I was done, and I was tired of waiting, okay? And I didn't even know what was coming next, but I was done dead. So Jesus says, I'd like you to go to this medium for a reading. And I'm like, why would I go to that medium for a reading? I can hear you perfectly fine. I'm just basically not listening to you, right? I'm going to do it my way. I was being stubborn. So sometimes Spirit will guide you to go to another medium because we're being stubborn and we're not wanting to listen. So they'll come through another medium to get through and for you to understand what is important in that moment. And sure enough, that was one of my questions, and it was the exact same guidance coming through that medium. And even Eric came through, and he had a little bit more of a direct chat with me too, which was really, really helpful. Because I really needed it. Because sometimes as an indigo kid, you can be a little stubborn. Am I right? Yeah. There's so many different reasons why. You might have been getting healings done, but say angelic Reiki healing is going to do something a little bit different for you. Or you're drawn to watching Charlie Goldsmith on his Facebook page, and he does healings all the time, and you just sit there and lap in those frequencies. He's not necessarily giving you a healing, but I'll tell you, you get washed with that energy. It feels so good. Oh my God. So I've even had Charlie Goldsmith's energy come to me to do a healing for me in the evening, and Jesus had a word with him and said, don't heal this autoimmune issue she has. It keeps her in check. Jesus was right on it, making sure Charlie wasn't going to touch that health issue I still have. It's not like it just disappears. So just because, you have surgery to remove that, issue, doesn't mean that the response doesn't potentially continue, right? Depending on how you treat your body, of course. Oh, I know, Connor. And, I was so fed up at that point because I'd already waited 8 years. So I was getting real stubborn and not happy about it. Oh, yeah, Charlie puts out big. I agree, Deborah. He puts out big. And, as I'm chatting with Spirit, Jesus is like, oh yeah, Charlie used to have Pleiadian lifetimes, and I work with him with his healings here on earth. And I'm like, that's so cool. So cool. All right. Let's get to the topic at hand, and let's see what Source would like to say pertaining to this topic, because this feels really important. That we hear this message from Source in regards to loving ourselves and what does it take, okay? And I think also this is interesting because I just asked, okay, what are we going to talk about? And this is the topic. But Source is also the one that would like me to help facilitate. I say facilitate, I'm not really the one teaching this. It's probably going to be Source teaching this, okay? Coming up on June 4th at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time is really a heart expansion class, okay? So if you're ready for heart expansion and opening further, really... I have no idea what's going to come through in this class yet, but I'd imagine it's going to be really good. Oh, you're getting emotional right now. Maybe some of the layers being transmuted as we're about to move in. Also, if Source starts to move in and you're watching this right now, you might notice some of your chakra centers getting a lot of pressure. Okay? You know what's interesting is I have heard people say that it's a process loving yourself and it takes constant work. For me, I've found it's a process of letting go. And anytime I'm observing any thought or activity that is dropping my frequency, if I can just shift that, then I can just go in the flow more, not buck the current in life as much, and it allows more high vibrational frequency to flow forth into my life. So I just do it more I try to do it the easy way. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? There have been moments where I'll buck the current hard, okay? I'm like, but how long I buck the current has shifted and changed as I've been practicing this. So I'm not constantly having to work at something. I'm more relaxing, going with the flow, letting the current of high vibrational source frequency flow more easily into my life and into me. And then source frequency will guide me. Yeah. And source frequency will guide us by way of our guardian angels assisting us, our spirit guides assisting us, our loved ones assisting us. This is all source frequency, by the way. Yeah. Let's not hold on to, and that's easier said than done when you're going through the trenches. Like if you're in the pan and the pan is hot and it's really tough in life, yeah, just let go. Maybe just wait for you to process what needs to get processed and then shift. Okay. So you're noticing a lot of pressure here, and I'm getting a lot of pressure in my chest. Okay, let's see. Let's see what comes through now. Source is saying, thank you, Kristin. It is an honor. to be able to speak through you in this way, for others to hear my words, for those of you who at this time, using the word time, may not be able to receive my messages or my words. I'm also getting a message in that anytime you're ever hearing anyone channel or talk about a topic, it's really important that you see if it resonates with you, okay? And that's like if you're watching the news, if you're watching someone say something to you, if you're watching someone talk about a certain topic, or anything you're doing, you're constantly seeing if it resonates with you in your body, okay? So if there's any tightness or any feeling that this is not resonating with you, it's really important to observe that. And that's, Source says, and that's also a part of self-love and self-care, is monitoring what resonates with you and what does not. Source is like, it's not all skipping down the road, and I love myself. I'm working on myself, self-help books, okay? It can go much deeper than this. And this is why Source wanted to speak with us today on this topic. For within you, okay, lies the answers to all. Source is saying, if you feel drawn to having a reading with a particular person or a healing with a particular person, please do so. But on the in between that, okay, when you're on your own, it's really important that you observe what resonates with you and what does not. Go within. Sit within the stillness, ask the question, and see if you get a yes or no response in the body, okay? Yes, feels good, nice and relaxed. No, tightness, pulled back in the chest. We get this gut feeling all the time in life. Now we're just going to consciously do it. That's a part of self-love and self-care. The second thing Source wants to speak with us about is other people in our lives influencing and affecting our vibrational frequency. And this is interesting because it's not just those within a physical body, it's also those who have crossed over. Okay. So if there's an energy pestering or harassing, or if there's a person misbehaving or mistreating, go within and seek for the answer as to what to do. Okay? Search for the answer within as to what to do about it. Because the answer is always there within the stillness. If your mind is racing and busy a lot of the time, it's really important to ground your energy often, daily. Then once you are nice and quiet and your energy is grounded, go within, into the stillness, and await the answer. And then jot the answer down on a piece of paper. Okay. Source wants me to take the reins a little bit on what self-love means to me. You know, I've always been high vibrational. My whole goal in life was to have fun on Earth. That was it. Everybody else was like, there was a lot of people over the years that have been a real Debbie Downer. Okay, I'm just going to be frank and honest with you guys. I would irritate them with me smiling, talking, being happy. irritate the heck out of them. I'd irritate them on the job site. I'd irritate them off the job site, you know, out hanging out with my friends. But that was my main goal. But as far as, you know, past the point of frolicking and having fun on earth, I suppose that is a part of self-love in a sense. It just flowed maybe more naturally with me. But as far as like really honing in on self-love, that would probably be something I started when I broke up with a soulmate partner, back when, you know, how long has it been now? Holy cow. Like 21 years ago. Okay. And so when that happened, I was alone, which I didn't like. Someone that I connected with energetically had departed from my life. I knew it was right, but it was still difficult. And I had nothing else I had no one else to give me the attention and the love. So there was only seeking it from within. But I knew that this was an opportunity to grow and find more of who I was separate from a partner. A partner's opinions, a partner's energy, a partner's, you know, constantly being in my life, constantly there. I even, over the years, after that breakup, went back a few times. And that didn't always feel right either. Not dating, you know what I mean. So just going back for, you know, brief encounters. And so ultimately, self-love was developed over time. The other thing I was really tired of was being passive aggressive. So like not speaking up for myself, not verbalizing myself. The fear of upsetting other people or pissing other people off. That was something that was constantly there. And then I would stuff everything down and I would carry it through life. And that got real heavy over time. And I got really tired of that. So when I started channeling spirit, nobody was carrying any heaviness. Nobody was worried or fearful. And I just thought to myself, I'm going to change this. I'm going to unload how I feel in the moment. And for that brief period where everybody's uncomfortable, probably I'm going to be uncomfortable because I'm going to be vocalizing how I feel in the moment. I'm going to do that so I get this up and out of me rather than carrying it day after day after day, the weight of it. So that's what I started to do, which was like a godsend. I'm like, this isn't that bad. It's uncomfortable in the moment, but then I feel a lot better. So that's one thing I started to do is start to up and offload and transmute anything that was an issue rather than stuffing it down, which really helped me a lot. And if people came to me and I didn't have the energy or I didn't feel as though it felt energetically right to do something, go somewhere, or help out in some way, I would use the word no. I started using the word no a lot. No, I'm not going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. But if I felt like it was good, I had the energy, I would say yes. Okay. And gradually over time, I also would use mirror work. So looking my eyes in the mirror and repeating, I love you. I'll look right in the mirror. And if you get that uncomfortable feeling, you know that this is needed. Mirror work is needed. If you're looking yourself directly in the eye in the mirror and you feel uncomfortable, it's needed. Not because you're going to beat this into you. I love me, I love me, I love me. No, because you're going to say it and manifest it into being. So say it, even if you don't even mean it, even if you don't even feel it. Say it in the mirror and say it out loud. Say it like, try to say it like you mean it, the best you can. But one morning I remember waking up feeling significantly different after doing a week or two of mirror work and really loving myself. Yeah. There have been many people that have come to me. They want me to channel for them whenever they are wanting me to. They want me to be their personal medium. They want me to channel what they want to channel. They want me to relay guidance whenever they would like me to relay guidance for them. So using the word no has come in handy. Holding my boundaries has come in handy. But if I feel like it resonates with me and it feels right and it's needed, then I'll do it. So I'll give you a little example. Right now, there's a gentleman sleeping in his car down at the beach. He's been there for 9 months living in his car because things are getting so difficult and people can't afford housing here. There are several people living in their vehicles all along the ocean, campers parking overnight, and they sleep in there overnight. I can't even imagine how cold that is overnight, freezing. I remember New Year's going down to the beach for a bit, and there was snow on the ground, and this guy is sleeping in his car. And it weighs on me to see him going through that, sleeping in his car. Every time I tune into spirit to help him in some way, they are asking me to not help. They want him to learn through this suffering. They want him to grow from this. And there's certain behaviors that he's doing that are no longer serving him. And the only way that that's going to shift and change, and that he will shift and change, is by suffering. And it's also, you know, people have come to me and they get harassed by spirit. They'll get harassed by many different energies, which is being allowed. Everybody is allowing that to happen. They could stop it if they wanted to. But soul contracts in place. Also, certain behaviors are taking place, and that won't change. That drug use, that behavior, whatever it is, won't change until they get pestered enough, suffer enough. Okay. So it's not all cupcakes and rainbows. So some people have changed their drug use by way of being harassed by spirit. Several people have come to me like that. And if you looked at my situation, mine changed by way of health issues, severe health issues with surgeries. So we are all learning about self-love in ways that we couldn't even possibly imagine, which is coming through suffering. So a lot of people will get stuck in the pity party, boo-hoo, poor me. And they spin their wheels and they don't know why they are where they are. I did that for the first 2 years straight, being unwell, going in and out of hospital, crying all the time. And then after 2 years, I'm like, what can I change about this situation? I've tried everything. I can't change what's happening with me physically. And I realized the only thing I can change is how I perceive it. What's going on in my mind, my emotions. So that's also a part of self-love. Recognizing that this is happening for a reason. And it's here to teach me something. Okay? So instead of spinning our wheels and being caught in a self-sabotage, boo-hoo, poor me routine, because some of us self-sabotage too. You may have digestive issues or certain health issues that warrant not touching certain substances or touching certain foods, but we might self-sabotage in those moments too. And that's a part of self-love too, is to catch yourself before you continue to self-sabotage or do certain things that you know are going to continue harming yourself, right? Isn't that great, Terry? So mirror work really helped you to stop hating yourself. And, you know, we all start at a different perspective of ourselves. For me, it was like worthiness was there, not feeling worthy, worried all the time, worried about everything, worried all the time. And you can just say it, and then as it's coming out of your mouth, it's amplifying in the mirror too, right? And you're looking at yourself, so it's amplified even more. And over time, it just starts to happen naturally, which is wonderful. Yeah. I would almost be like, rather than learning new emotions, Anne, I would just be gently shifting my attention into better feeling place and asking spirit to transmute that which is no longer needed. Because if we have years of build-up stuff down within us, then just let your team start to clear and transmute. Okay? It's so much easier. And then all I do is let go and try to move into a better feeling place. And I can go from, obviously I'm not going to go overnight from like totally hating myself to loving myself. That's a bit of a jump. But if I'm just not having a good day, I could say, I'm just not having a good day right now. I'm just going to put a happy, positive film on. My angels are going to transmute this for me right now. And just shift your frequency ever so bit by bit by bit. Okay? Any guidance on that? If we start to analyze things too much, we'll be up in our heads. And for many of us, we're already up in our heads too much. So Kristin is relaying a message that they agree with, in that it's better to come into the heart space and feel joy, feel laughter. And if that's too much for you in that moment, you can even just lay down and have a nap. And your team will begin working with you and working on you while you're sleeping. Okay? They're also saying we don't need to make too much of things in our minds. That is just not necessary. Okay? We don't need to blow things up and make it more than it really needs to be. Yes. Are there certain affirmations that work better than others? Like, what if you're sitting there saying an affirmation and you don't believe a friggin' word you're saying, such as, I love you in the mirror? Say it anyways. Say it anyways. Say it anyways. Say it anyways. And keep saying it until it comes into fruition. That is all. That is it. As far as which ones resonate with you over others, you'll see when you're saying it. Okay. They're talking about when I started coming on the spiritual path, there were a lot of spiritual leaders, if you want to call it that, or people stepping into the forefront in front of other people, and they were really helpful and knowledgeable. So find others that are relaying really good guidance that will help you with affirmations. You can Google this and look for, it's just a long list of people that you could contact. Okay? So people that particularly even work with affirmations. And this could be you watching a YouTube video on a channel, or it can be you contacting someone and working with them one-on-one. Yep. you know, that's the number one thing, is nobody's teaching us these things as we grow up in school. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we were taught meditation or quiet? Well, we did have nap time, didn't we, Connor, in kindergarten? I remember them giving me a teaspoon of honey. Here, have your honey. Now go lay down. I was like, why am I getting honey? I don't even want honey right now. Okay. You know, and then they laid me down for nap time, and I'd have my nap time. But you know, this is also something, it just seemed to help me when I was going through the trenches over the years. You know, I had ulcerative colitis, but I would go to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, and I would see people with Crohn's suffering way worse than me, or other individuals who were suffering way worse than me, and they were on like their 7th surgery. Like, it was just like, it was a bit too heavy for me in the Crohn's and Colitis group gatherings, to the point where I stopped going because I needed to keep my own frequency higher. Okay, so I made that decision. This isn't serving me. But I said to myself, things are really hard, but there's other people that have it harder than you. So let's start to shift and move in a just a bit of a better direction, instead of, it kind of helped me get out of my sorrow pity party. Okay, you know, crying all the time, and that might take some time. And some people can take 25 years, and other people it'll take you 2 years. Other people it takes you 6 months. It just all depends on the person, right? I'm really loving the affirmations the angels gave me in regards to abundance. Those are the ones that I really love. And it's, in the beginning I'd say it because that's what I wanted, and I was just going to see if it worked. Then I started to see it work. So now when I'm saying the affirmations, I'm like, oh, I believe every word. There's a difference when you start to see it unfold. If you're doing an abundance affirmation and somehow you stumble across $20 on the ground, or say somebody, you get an extra $30 check from grandma that you weren't expecting for your birthday, okay? Every bit of it counts. Milk it, milk it, milk it. Somebody says, oh, I'll help pay for your new cell phone. Milk it, okay? That's all abundance. Don't disregard any bit of it. And the more you focus in on every abundant act and experience in your life, in comes the bigger stuff, and the bigger and the most, and then some of it surprises you right entirely. You think, oh, how is that even happening? How? I'm like, I'll even say hats off to you. You got me on that one. Wasn't even expecting or anticipating, and I'll get a chuckle. So don't ever disregard any form of abundance coming in, okay? It might be like 100 different things you haven't even thought of yet. Just say that affirmation and say it like as much as you can, like you mean it, okay? I always love, all of my needs are met abundantly for me now and always. Okay, and money flows easily and effortlessly into my bank account all the time. As I'm spending money, I see that money coming right back into my bank account. And I'm smiling because I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do now. My higher self, my team, let's bring it in. I'm waiting for you. Yeah, that's more of a 3D societal norm. It being really hard to separate your worth with production. Yeah, because you'll get abundance in. So it could be 1,000 different ways. It's to limit it to you working to get a mighty dollar. That's just too limiting. So let's go bigger. We need to go way bigger. Anything's possible. Anything, literally anything. Literally. I'm a walking proof of that. Because if you told me like 10 years ago I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, I would have laughed and thought that was a joke. You know, forget it. I'd be like, yeah, right. You know, if you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be, you know, seeing the abundance that I see now, I would have been shocked right off my feet. You probably had to pick me up off the floor. So yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. And why limit our minds and our thoughts to only having abundance by way of spending your time, your energy in exchange for energy via money, because money is energy, isn't it? Yes, and I love saying at the end, and you know who taught me that, Jacqueline? The angels. So at the end of saying whatever, and so it is, and you're affirming it, and so it is. This or something better. That's another one I like to say. So let's not limit it to what I'm asking for. This or something even better. Yeah. Whatever you're asking. No kidding, Sangeeta. I friggin' love that. Okay, so Sangeeta is saying that she had a reading with me, and I do remember this. And your dad came through and said that your dad and your angels were working on an abundance plan for you. And so now it's come through in miraculous ways. Yeah. We see it as a miracle because we don't understand how it happened. Well, we can thank your dad. I got a feeling, you know what I get a feeling with your dad, Sangeeta, is like he's really good at it manifesting money, abundance, like in the physical form. And now he's on the other side, and he's manifesting it for you from the other side. He's a pro. He's a total pro. I think that's fantastic. So there you go. Ask your loved ones to help bring in abundance for you, and let's see what they can pull out. But when the moment comes and the time comes and you're getting a pull or a draw to do something, okay, or go somewhere, you listen, because they're guiding you in that moment, and that's part of it too. I can't be just like, yeah, help me. Okay, earmuffs on. Now I'm not going to listen to anybody. Okay, so just relax and let them guide you. We get gut feelings all the time. Yes, that's right, Jacqueline. The angels teach me, and then I bring it to the forefront and teach everybody else what they teach me. Yes. Oh, Connor, Jesus has been chatting me up big time. Okay, so for example, I was going for a walk last night, and Jesus is like, you need to stop worrying and stop complaining, because I'm going to be moving soon, and I'm just not happy with what's happening. I'm like, I'm still grumbling, okay, and I've been here for a long period of time, and I don't want to move. And I'm like, and you know what? You know what Jesus said to me, Connor? He just looked me in the face and smiled, and he goes, well, this is the game of life, Kristin. Oh, it's not always going to be what you want it to be or how you expect it to be. It's a bit of spirit souls who are looking to potentially incarnate here on earth. When they come here, they look at it as the wild, wild west. It's not always going to be what you expect it to be or want it to be. Jesus, you want to hone in on this for a moment? He says, no, I relayed what I wanted you to hear last night. And as for Connor, he knows what is being requested of him at this time. It's just not always easy to hear it and then sit back and wait. Okay. He is saying that there's a beautiful thing in just sitting and waiting and resting, because it allows you to decompress. It allows spirit to come into your life even more so, instead of constantly bucking the current and struggling and feeling like you're forced to do something and go and do and be. Always in a worry mindset. This is also teaching you to relax and sit back and practice not worrying. And he's saying that they've done that with me several times as well, which is so true. Yeah, me too. Me too, Connor. Me too. Yeah. All right. So, any last words from Source? Yes, Source would like us to know this. Believe and you will receive. That's it. That's all it takes. And at first, you may not feel it or believe it. Say it anyways, repeatedly, over and over again. Because even if you if you're not wholeheartedly believing, even 100%, by you repeatedly saying it, you're still manifesting that. You're still sending that energy out, that thought form, that energy, which is your thought form, is being sent out. And your team will get to work and bring it in. So, do your best to believe and then receive. But even in the interim, say it anyways.